What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another one. So I just got off a call with one of the members from over at the Patreon, and they were talking me through their previous approach to the markets, what they did, what they were trading, how they were looking at things, what they were going through their mind. And the best analogy that I can come up with that I can give you guys is, you know, when you were younger and you used to play video games, or if you still play video games, they had different degrees of difficulty. So you go from easy to medium to hard. This particular person was playing the market in expert mode, right? So going through it in the most challenging way possible. So just putting the most hurdles up in front of them, just doing things the most difficult way. And after coaching thousands of people over the last couple of years, what I've realized is a lot of people choose the most difficult way of approaching the markets when there's actually almost always a much simpler way of getting to that goal. And that goal is beating the market. The goal is having successful trades. The goal is growing accounts. But most people actually choose the most difficult way to do it. As I said, there's always a simpler way. And we're seeing that taking place right now as we speak. I'm going to show you guys, okay? So take a look at this. This is the view of the market on the S&P 500. So we have 73% of client accounts in the IG brokerage, they're short the S&P 500. Okay, so even if we backtrack, if you guys have ever traded anything independently and you've gone ahead and picked a stock out there and you have been unsuccessful, a big part of the reason why you've been unsuccessful is because you haven't looked at what's at the top of the food chain, and the S&P 500 is at the top of the food chain. So you always want to have a view and understanding and a picture and a roadmap of exactly what's going on with it. Okay, because then that will set the scene, lay the groundwork for what is to follow with everything below, like individual names. But 73% of client accounts are short the S&P 500. So think of a typical market trader, participant like yourself who's out there, they will be short the S&P 500. Take a look at the S&P 500 right now, however. This is the S&P 500. My aim is to give you guys direction, predictions on where individual names will be going. And I'll do that every week, as I do. And if I'm not doing that, guys, the aim is to educate you. The aim is to give you a piece of information. The aim is to give you intel on the markets, which is going to put you one step ahead of the game, which is going to increase your overall knowledge, which is going to mean that you're going to be able to have a better understanding of what's going on and then use that to make smarter and wiser decisions. So I'm going to teach you guys a couple of things in this video. And the first is what we call blind trading. So all of those 73% of client accounts on the IG, what they're doing right now is they are blind trading, because this is the S&P 500 and there is nothing that indicates that this is to drop. So they're short, expecting the market to drop, but there is nothing. There is no technical, there is no anything that indicates that this should reverse from here. So what they're doing is they are blind trading. I used to blind trade many years ago when I started. You guys, if you are doing your own independent thing, you're most likely blind trading as well. It's almost like a rite of passage to being successful in this business. But it's something that you guys should most definitely be aware of. The majority of the market right now are blind trading. The key thing is I don't want you guys to do that. I always want to put you guys in a position to win. I want to put you guys in the forefront, put you guys in a position where you're going to be successful in this game. And being conscious of blind trading and knowing what it is, it means that you can correct that and avoid doing that. The second thing, guys, is all these 73% of people, they're making their lives very, very difficult by shorting the S&P 500 when really and truly there's no reason to do that. A better approach would be this, and it's called divergence. Okay, divergence in this type of context means, okay, cool, we have the S&P 500 moving higher or is showing momentum. What index out there is diverting from this momentum and not showing that same movement? Because if you're able to identify another index that's not doing that, well, guess what? That means that when the market is ready to drop, when the market does see some selling pressure, that other index that is in that state of divergence is gonna collapse even further. So you have the S&P 500 moving up, moving high. Take a look at ARKK. Again, another index, but you can see very different. S&P 500 is going from the bottom left of the screen to the top right. ARKK is going from the top left to the bottom right, showing weakness. So instead of shorting the S&P 500, use this principle of divergence and look at something more appropriate, like for example an ARKK. And obviously if you want to be a little bit better with it, wait for it to break this level of support where that purple line is. When you get that weakness in the S&P 500, break that purple line, it's very likely you're going to see this thing take out that $42 low, and that's a much better way of approaching it. So instead of blind trading, instead of shorting something that's in, momentum, making your life very, very difficult, that I find that most people do, take that easier approach, okay, which is looking for something that is in this condition of divergence. That is going to be a much better candidate to take a short position on. All right, if you guys apply that principle, just have that in the back of your mind, tell you it's going to completely elevate your game in the markets. Let me share this with you. So this is a member from over the Patreon. Maria says, I've tried options, I've never tried options trading, only bought stock. Can you explain how it works? I see all the comments in the Patreon from the members, and I'm looking forward to getting started on the journey. Okay. One thing about me is I love it when new people approach the markets, new people get educated, get informed, turn to the markets, because it is a game-changing experience. As a matter of fact, it reminds me of when I started. Okay, so I started options trading back in 2016. The catalyst for that was when I lost my job. So I lost my job, I had no more income, I was in that survival mode, and I had to find a way to be successful. And some of you guys could probably relate to that right now. You're looking and searching for ways and where you can improve your life, make more money, do better for yourselves, create a brighter and better future. The avenue that saved me was the markets. So I took a temporary position as a security in a high-end fashion store up in town, and I'd actually overheard a guy. He was walking in, he was on the phone, and he just said, he was speaking to his mate, and he said he's up £10,000 this week. And I thought to myself, I'd never even heard of those types of numbers in a week. So what I did was I caught him on the way out, had a chat with him, and asked him what he does. This guy said that he trades the market. I thought, I need to take a look into this and see what I can do and how I can replicate what this guy is doing. And thank God for my curiosity, because 8 years later, a £10,000 week is something that happens frequently. You guys have seen those numbers. I share the trades with you all the time, and the members of the page are able to jump into those trades. But thank God for my curiosity, and thank God that I took that decisive action to get involved in the markets, because it completely changed the course of my life. Right? Options trading has some similarities to getting into stocks, but it's just that next level. Okay, so with stocks, you buy a stock, price goes up, you make money. That also happens with options trading, but there's a lot more different variables and factors involved. So firstly, on a very basic level, you can make money in both directions. So you can make money as the market goes up, and you can make money as the market goes down. Whereas only with stock trading, you can only make money when the market goes up, because you can only buy the stock. Options, you can make it in both directions. Another big difference is, or what you should understand, is that when you're trading a stock, you're buying that asset. So let's say you go ahead and you buy a share of Apple. When you trade options, you're trading on a contract. That contract does move all the time throughout the day, the price of it, like the stock does. So let's say Apple right now is $216. By the end of the day, it's going to fluctuate and move around. The option contract linked to Apple will also fluctuate and move around. So it moves around all day, just like the stock price does. But the big difference with buying a stock and options trading is that there is way more volatility, way more upside with options trading. So for example, if you go ahead and buy your Apple stock and it goes up 2%, you're going to be up 2% on whatever you put into that Apple stock. Whereas with options trading, if it went up 2%, your options contract, depending on the contract that you picked, but the types of contracts that I pick, you're generally going to be up 50 to 70% on that 2% move. So you can see that's wild differences. So you can make a lot more money with a lot less capital. There's a lot of other things in play with options trading, right? You've got strike prices, you've got expiration dates and things like that. But if you want to know more about that, Maria, just shoot me a DM over the Patreon and we can have a further discussion about that. But those are just some of the basics, some of the basic mechanics and how the world of options work. That's a good baseline introduction for those of you guys who are brand new to the space. But look, it's an incredible world and I love it. I've been in it for 8 years strong, coming up to that decade, and we're only getting better and bigger, and all the members are doing very, very well for themselves as well, which is something that I am very, very proud of them for. And we're going to continue to do that and take that same energy right through into the back half of this year. So guys, that's the video for today. Drop down some comments. I'll catch you all on the next one.